excuse my tank top. I was at the gym earlier. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to Minds Behind the Music. I am your host, LA. Today was very sudden because I just had dinner and just trying to get everything squared away. But today is a very special. Oh, let me just double check. The microphone has been acting up. Today is a very special topic. Let me just bear with me, guys. They're just having some technical difficulties here. I'm just going to try and something's going on with my headphones, but all right. Okay, we're good now. We got one person, so let's get those likes up. Anyways, today I want to talk about a specific member of a really big band, someone that was a big part in my bass playing and in just me getting into music in general. And that person I'm talking about is Iron Maiden's Steve Harris. Now, over the weekend, as some of you know, it was his birthday. I believe he turned 65, and I wanted to come on here and just talk about him and talk about the music of Iron Maiden. Now, I first got into Iron Maiden at a rather, I would say, some people would say a really young age. I wouldn't say it's very young because a lot of people get into bands when they're like toddlers or like in elementary school. I actually got into Iron Maiden when I was 15. I was on a road trip with my father back from Texas. We are going to Texas, from Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. And while I was in the car, I was like, you know what? I want to listen to something new. I haven't really gotten into like heavy metal or like really traditional heavy metal because I was a teenager. I was a lot of the people I was surrounding myself with were big metalheads. And Nick's here. Hey, Boogie. What's going on? Not a Boogie, but Boogie. We call him Boogie. That's Nick. Just coming on the show, saying hi. Thank you for coming on, man. I just started talking about the topic and how I got into Iron Maiden. Um, a lot of my friends were into heavy metal, and I knew a couple people that were huge Iron Maiden fans. And I was like, I'm gonna listen to Iron Maiden. I'd never listened to them before, and I put on, I believe it was the title song was "Fear of the Dark." Their 1992 album of the same name. It was the song from the 1992 album "Fear of the Dark." And just to be clear, I'm coming out normal, right, guys? Just want to be sure of that. Um, and just to be clear, um, yeah, it was Fear of the Dark. And I remember hearing that first intro, that I was like, damn. Like this was no joke. Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden from the album Fear of the Dark was the first Iron Maiden song I've ever listened to. And I instantly loved it. I was like, wow, these guys sound awesome. And I played it in the car with my dad, and he was like, what is it? He was like, oh, put on this and put on that, because we are just listening to random rock bands, classic rock, heavy metal. Let's see what you had to say. Nick said, it's funny you mentioned that. You first heard Maiden on a road trip. One day in the car with my old man, I put in the Number of the Beast CD, and well, that was that. The funny thing is, the second song that I listened to after that, um, it's funny that you mentioned that. The next song that I listened to was The Trooper, which was from Peace of Mind. Um, and that just strengthened my enthusiasm to want to get into that band. And I think the Number of the Beast was also, if I was listening to a bunch of them. I was listening to Hallowed Be Thy Name. I was listening to the Number of the Beast as well, like during that road trip. And so basically you can relate. I know you can relate, Boogie. um I know that we talk about Iron Maiden um whenever we can because you and I are like huge fans of Maiden, and I know it's definitely been a huge impact on your drumming, and it's been a huge impact on my bass playing. Whether or not I'd like to admit that, it's it's honestly even more of a subconscious thing when I think about like how I play. It's very reminiscent of Steve Harris, and the dude like I'm gonna even be honest with you. Have you guys seen what's like? I'm gonna show you some of Steve Harris's basses. Like, he he's one of the few people that I've like. He's one of the reasons why I love the way that precision basses look, and his precision basses are just beautiful. They are beautiful freaking instruments. I'm gonna show you Steve Harris. Set up Steve Harris's precision bass. See, I'm gonna go on Google Images for that. Okay. Oh yeah. Thank you, Boogie. Um, I'm gonna show you what Steve Harris's P basses look like. Right here. This white one. I think this was the one that he played while when I saw them in concert. And this is a freaking beauty. Like that like metal like outline, that plate that they have, that metal plate on the front is just wow. Like and to be honest, like I know a lot of people really love the original P basis designs, like the black with the white and like the white with the white or the white with a tan. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a very big fan of that color. And it's just not wow enough for me, and that's just my personal opinion. But look at this other bass. It's blue with the metal here. Whoa, like who like he knows how to make his basses look good. Mike from Retro Spin Vinyl, what's up, man?
Greetings. Rocking and rolling. Let's talk Maiden.
Yeah. I was telling everyone before that to yes no the last weekend was Steve Harris's 65th birthday.
Oh yeah, he's getting old now.
Yeah, but he's still rocking it. He's still got those bass playing chops.
Oh yeah, soon we'll be calling him Grandpa Harris though.
Yeah. He's getting up there, but man, that band still got it. Like I've this has come from someone that's seen them in concert. Like they still got it.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that I am dying to see one day and just haven't yet.
All I have to say is like any opportunity that you can get to see them live, take that opportunity because you will not regret it. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's fantastic. Is my video and all that all right? I'm trying this on my phone for the first time, so I don't know how well this will work. I'm attempting to stand my phone up, but it's miserably failing. But
It looks fine. You sound fine as well.
perfect. I'm glad
Um,
I look and sound sexy as can be.
exactly. That's how it's done.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna try that. Let's see. All right. I think that finally worked.
Yeah, all the red. I'm just showing everybody here the Steve Harris's what Steve Harris's precision bass looks like.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think he played this one at the during the Legacy of the Beast tour.
Yeah, I look very much so forward to seeing Maiden one day live.
Yeah, definitely. Any opportunity that you can get to see them live, take that opportunity.
Now the real question is, I'm sure your viewers would love to know, what is your favorite Maiden release?
Like my favorite album.
Yep.
I, I actually talked to my drummer about this too. My all-time favorite Iron Maiden album, my number one favorite Iron Maiden album is Power Slave. Hands down Power Slave.
Yeah, this is definitely a good one for sure. But you know
Yeah.
what my favorite one is?
Was yours? Peace of Mind. That's my second favorite.
Yep. Flight of Vicarious. Fly high away. Oh yeah, so
Definitely
good.
both of you. I don't know why. Apparently we're echoing. Let me just double check something.
Guys are echoing. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's odd. Maybe it might be the. Let me just test out something.
It's because I'm ugly. No, I'm kidding. I am ugly and I am proud.
I need it. But yeah, there are so many greats on that album. Peace of Mind. There's The Trooper. I can honestly say that album and Power Slave, there is not a single song on that album that is bad. Like, or at least no, scratch that. There is not a single song on that album that isn't good.
Yeah, really. I mean, 2 minutes to midnight. Yeah.
Let's look at the I'm gonna show some. I just want to show my viewers the set list, or what do you call it? Not the set list. The Power Slave, the track listing, Power Slave's track listing, and Peace of Mind's track listing.
Oh, yeah, go for it. And don't mind me. I have an ice cream cone I'm about to be eating in front of all of y'all.
Yep. Is it still echoing, Nick?
Hope not.
I hope not either. Let me double check. Yeah, I'll just mute my mic for now, and then when you talk, I'll just mute my you'll just mute. I'm having a brain fart here. You'll just mute your mic for now, or we'll just mute each other's mics whenever we talk.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, just in case. We got 3 more people. Let's get those likes up, guys. Okay, so here's Power Slave's track listing. Aces High, which they opened that up. The Legacy of the Beast tour, I think, had some of their best set lists. I think hands down was one of their best set lists. And just like the World Slavery Tour, if you ever seen Live After Death, if you ever listened to the Iron Maiden album Live After Death, they did before they play Aces High, they play Winston Churchill's speech, and they did that at the concert that I went to. And
they usually open, I think, a lot of their live shows with that.
Yeah, I think so too. I haven't, like I said, I haven't been to a lot of Maiden concerts either, which I would really love to go to more. I think if and when Judas Priest tours with Maiden, I for sure want to get tickets to that, because Judas Priest is another favorite band of mine.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be an excellent live show.
Yeah, and Maiden, I mean, that'd be just great. But yeah, most live albums by Maiden, I think, opens up with the Churchill thing. I know that at least Flight 666 and I believe In Vivo both start with that.
I know that Live After Death opens up with that.
Let's see. I have only one live album on physical format. Where is it?
I only have 2 Maiden albums on CDs, and I have yet to get Iron Maiden vinyl.
I only have Killers on vinyl.
Oh, I remember seeing at Pandora's Box. I remember seeing Peace of Mind on vinyl.
Oh yeah, they probably won $20 or $30 for it.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's one of Maiden's best albums. But
and it most certainly is.
The set list here, Aces High, which I know we went on a tangent about. That's I remember first hearing that. I think there was a funny thing that I did. I was like 16 or 17 years old. I went to Dorney Park, and I would like have I think I had my phone in my pocket, and I was on one of those like spinny airplane rides. Oh, this is gonna be goofy as hell. But while I was on it, I decided to like start playing music on my phone. I played Aces High by Iron Maiden, and I was just blasting that out loud. Oh,
I have no words.
All I gotta say is the only thing I have to say about that is I love that tune. It's one of my all-time favorites. Like this whole album is my favorite Iron Maiden album.
So my
And
question to you is this: of later Maiden albums, after the Blaze Bailey stuff,
mhm.
like Brave New World forward, what would you think is their best album in your opinion from that era?
If we count Brave New World, then Brave New World. If
Agreed.
not, yeah. A Matter
But
of Life and Death is up there. It's not one of my favorites. It's not one of my top favorite Maiden albums, but it definitely has some great songs.
I mean, Reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg is a perfect example.
For the Greater Good of God as well. That's a phenomenal tune.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd have
Yeah.
to say of those, Brave New World is probably the best. And even though
Yeah.
the album cover for Dance at Death absolutely sucks and blows chunks, that's a damn good album too.
Yeah, they have some great songs. They have Passchendaele, they have Face in the Sand. Um there was another song I'm trying to remember. No
Wild
More Lies is
Dreams.
good.
Wild
Wildest Dream.
Dreams.
Rainmaker has an awesome riff. Says
Oh, it most certainly does.
I think it's on my computer. I hopped on my phone and it seems good on there. Book of
Perfect.
Boogie also says Book of Souls. I'm biased though cuz that's the tour I saw them on.
Okay.
Yeah, Book of Souls is I in my opinion, I think Book of Souls is one of their better recent Iron Maiden albums. It's not a great album, but they definitely have some good songs like The Red and the Black, uh the Empire of the Clouds, that like 18-minute epic that they wrote. Um
It's not my favorite, but they have some all right stuff on that album.
yeah. A lot of people didn't like Speed of Light, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was a pretty decent song.
Honestly, I barely listen to the album, so I can't even talk about even song track titles because I don't even know what they are
Mm.
on that release.
Yeah, my favorite songs on that album would probably have to be Empire of the Clouds, either Empire of the Clouds or um Empire of the Clouds or The Red and the Black. The title song Book of Souls was also really good. And I think that was Iron Maiden's longest album cuz it's about 90 minutes long.
Yeah, I think so too. What would you say is your favorite song or songs from Brave New World?
Hmm. Speaking of which, I'm going to go to Brave New World's track listing right now just so we have that Brave.
Yeah, I gotcha. I have the CD in front of me, so that's why I'm able to look at it a little better, easier than you. But
Yeah, I'm just zooming in. That's actually one of the albums that I have on CD. Should have brought it upstairs, but oh well. But I have that on CD and I have Dance of Death on CD. Yeah.
nice.
My favorite The Wicker Man. A lot of people don't like The Wicker Man, but I like The Wicker Man.
I do
They
too.
a- they actually performed that at the concert as well, the Legacy of the Beast concert.
It's a
They
great
performed.
opening for an album, in my opinion.
Yeah. The title track is phenomenal. Blood Brothers is another favorite of mine.
Yeah,
Um, the Dream of Mirrors, that's a great tune. I only dream in black and white. I only dream just like that. That's a great one. The
oh,
Nomad's good. Fallen Angels, all right. Um, the Thin Line Between Love and Hate is another great from that album. That
I
one,
really like Ghost of the Navigator too.
good. That one's okay. It's like it's not one of my favorites, but that one's definitely not a bad tune.
Yeah,
But that one's definitely, I think, hands down, this is one of their best albums in recent years. Like one of their best more recent albums. Like I know this album's like over 20 years old, but
I think it's one of their best albums of all time. Period.
I agree with that. But oh, that the thin line between love and hate, I would probably say is definitely up there. I would say it's probably either my second or first. My first is either Dream of Mirrors or The Wicker Man. It's hard to say, but
I mean, I
um,
love everything on that album, but if I had to choose a favorite, it's a hard tie between Blood Brothers and The Wicker Man.
Blood Brothers is a great song. And you take
We're
you
blood
to
brothers.
we're blood brothers.
And talk about a heart-wrenching tune, too.
Yeah. Um, the I think th- one of the things that I love is the dynamics of that album. I think, let me see who Kevin Shirley produced it. I know when Steve Harris produced a lot of the Iron Maiden albums, they were very bass heavy, which makes sense because Steve Harris is the bassist of the group.
Yeah, it's not
And
like Injustice for All by Metallica.
yeah, where there's absolutely no bass at all. See, Red Sings the Blues, man behind the mic, Greg. What's up, man? We're just talking about Iron Maiden. We're talking about this is a Steve Harris and Iron Maiden appreciation stream because over the weekend it was Steve Harris's 65th birthday.
Yeah, good stuff. So the very first Maiden album I owned in my own collection
What's up?
would be this album.
That is in my opinion, that is an underrated Iron Maiden album. Like it's very, very overlooked, but it's hands down one of the best Iron Maiden albums out there.
I agree. One of the very first Iron Maiden songs I ever learned how to play on guitar was "The Evil That Men Do."
That has the bass gallop too, and I that's one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs of all time. That and Infinite Dreams. The Infinite Dreams. One of the first Iron Maiden songs I learned on bass was The Clairvoyant.
Ooh.
Because I just absolutely love that intro.
And I think the first three Maiden songs I ever fell in love with were the title track from their debut album, Charlotte the Harlot from their debut, and also Then Can I Play with Madness.
I love that song.
Can I play with madness?
I forgot to turn off my watch. I was saying before I was at the gym and I forgot to turn off my watch because I'm not using it now because I'm at home. But the Seventh Son, I think beginning to end, that I did feel there were a couple songs off that album that were very, what do you call it, that were a little weak, but all in all, that album is just, I think all in all it's a great album. I honestly, in my opinion, I like it better than Caught Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can never go wrong with Wasted Years or Heaven Can Wait, but the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son totally smacks Somewhere in Time.
Yeah, it blows it out of the water. Like Somewhere in Time, I would say my favorites from Somewhere in Time would be Wasted Years, Sea of Madness is good. The title song is really good. Caught Somewhere in Time. Alexander the Great.
I was about to say Alexander the Great is a fantastic one.
It is a beautiful tune. And Stranger in a Strange Land. Originally when I listened to Stranger in a Strange Land, I really couldn't get into it. But when I listened to it more and more over the years, I learned to appreciate that song a lot more. And it sounds I grew to love it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this album. There were some songs I had difficulty getting into because some of them were long and I wasn't crazy about the melodies, but let's see. Moonchild is good. Moonchild is great. Can I Play with Madness?
Yeah, those are all. We're back to Seventh Son, yeah.
Yeah.
Now my question to you is this. What's your thoughts both on this album and the big hit Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter?
A lot of people give that album hate and they give them an album slack, but it's not that bad.
I agree.
It's not one of my favorite albums by Iron Maiden, but it's not a bad album. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is not one of my favorite songs from that album.
No.
But
no.
It's not.
My favorite from this album is Holy Smoke.
My favorite from that album is either Tail Gunner or the title track.
Tail Gunner might be my second favorite, but Yeah, musically, Take Your Daughter to the Slaughter is good, but lyrically, it's terrible.
Yeah, I think it's one of their weaker songs lyrically.
Of their whole catalog.
Now I have a question for you. Which album do you think is better? Uh what is it? No Prayer for the Dying or this album right here?
Oh, damn.
Cuz there's a huge debate on which 90s Iron Maiden album was the best or which 90s Iron Maiden album was better.
You know, just because of the title track of Fear of the Dark alone, that album is significantly more memorable, if for
Mhm.
nothing else. Because the hit off of No Prayer for the Dying, Take Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I might have to go to No Prayer for the Dying for this one.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually the opposite. I think Fear of the Dark is better. Like, what is like I personally like how Bruce's voice sounds better in this one than he sounded in No Prayer for the Dying, but I think that was because I think the reason his voice sounded like that was because his voice started like hurting, and I know that was one of the reasons why he left Maiden in the 90s because
Right.
like he he was losing his voice and he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And I know that's one of the reasons why he got that like rasp, like kind of like with John Lennon in Twist and Shout,
Yeah.
like he has that like rasp in his voice. It was for a similar reason because like John Lennon was in the studio of, like they finished that entire debut album of theirs in a day,
Less than 10
and
hours to record that. Yeah.
yeah, and his voice was hurting him, and
Well, take it all, baby, now. Take it all, baby. Twist and shout.
yeah, and what is it? But with Dickinson, I think he was just like losing his voice and he was having trouble hitting a lot of the higher notes
Yeah.
without like, hurting himself. But luckily for him, he figured out what the problem was and he figured out how to, like sing properly without hurting his voice.
Right.
But
So, what do you think of the Braze Bailey? Forget about the fact that he was in Maiden and all that, but as a whole, as a vocalist, what do you think of him?
I've mentioned this in another podcast, but I think that he's a great vocalist. Like he's very competent, very like he can really make a song his. But for Iron Maiden, it's Bruce. Bruce is the vocalist of Iron Maiden.
Agreed.
Like,
Even though I'm not the biggest Extreme fan. Wait, was he
mhm.
originally an Extreme?
Was he?
Was he the person for? I'd have to look at my Extreme Pornography Volume 2 album with like more than words and all that on it because I can't. I believe he was a vocalist for
Actually,
Extreme.
actually, I think that was Gary Sharon who was the vocalist of Extreme.
Oh, maybe.
I'm gonna look that up. What about where Blaze Bailey was on? Let me see, Blaze.
I was gonna say because I might be mixing them up because I know that one of them was the vocalist for Van Halen 3, and then the other one was the X Factor uh, albums for Maiden. But I'm truly drawing a blank at the moment.
I think that was Gary Sharon from because I know he sang on Porno Graffiti. Um, Yeah, Blaze Bailey was in Wolfsbane before he was in Iron Maiden.
Okay.
But he was in Wolfsbane. Uh I I don't know if you ever got around to listening to the X Factor, the Iron Maiden album?
I haven't, and it's I want to hear it eventually, but I just haven't done it because I hear so many negative things, and of course I want to make my own opinions and not go with the flow of what everybody says, but I just haven't done it yet.
Mhm. Um this is actually like this is an unpopular opinion. I think I've mentioned this before, but I think that the X Factor is a really good Iron Maiden album.
You've told me that behind the scenes, but you haven't told me that while we were like live. You told me that years ago.
Yeah, I forgot. It was like 2 or 3 years ago that I said that the X Factor, because like I used to like just post a bunch of like I just to just post a bunch of unpopular opinions on social media,
Yeah,
and one of them was that the X Factor is a good Iron Maiden album.
yeah,
And um I could even show, and I might get hate from other Maiden fans saying that, but I don't know. Um the X Factor, I would say, is hands down. Like I honestly think it's better than some of their newer albums. Like
yeah. That I can't tell you because I haven't heard that. But
uh,
I mean, Book of Souls and A Matter of Life and Death, even though they're not bad albums, I'm not wowed by them like many are.
yeah, I'm kind of like that as well.
Final Frontier, I mean, it's grown on me throughout the years, but like, I don't know. After Dance of Death, I don't. It kind of just sloped downwards for me.
Yeah. Um uh, a lot of people have different opinions on the Final Frontier because I know the reviews were like really mixed.
Yeah,
Um I like it's not one of my favorites. I would honestly say it's my least favorite Iron Maiden album, mostly because I tried to listen to it a number of times and I just could not get into it. Like it's just the way that they made that record sound just was not for me.
well, the problem is it was at the height of the loudness wars during that time. It's the same, and I don't know if there's as I haven't heard that album in a while, so I don't really know if the compression sounds and all that is as prevalent as say other counterparts of that time, like Death Magnetic by Metallica.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's definitely not their best.
Yeah, Boogie said, "Final Frontier hater," shaking my head. You know, there are like 2 songs off of the Final Frontier that I did like. Like, El Dorado was okay. When the Wild Wind Blows, I think that was the closing track from, the Final Frontier. That song was actually good. I will admit that song, I think it was 11 minutes long. The, When the Wild Wind Blows, that is a great Maiden song, and I think that if the rest of the album had that similar energy and like, composition to it, I would
Yeah,
have enjoyed the album a lot more.
yeah. I mean, eh, Maiden's albums are not ever bad.
Yeah.
It's just that some are better than others.
Mhm.
I can't say that of any Maiden album I've heard. I could say, "Oh, Maiden sucks. That album sucks." No, I can never say that. Just like with the Beatles albums, or just like Led Zeppelin, like
Mhm.
they just don't suck.
Yeah. I think I could only say that with Judas Priest, and which is really sad to say, like, and this is no disrespect to Judas Priest. I love Judas Priest, but their album Turbo,
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to say to any Priest fans out there, I hate Turbo. I do not like that album Turbo.
I don't really like that album either. It's not the worst album I've ever heard in my life, but it's not the best either.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's it's not the worst album that I've ever heard. It's just for Judas Priest quality, it's the worst album that I've heard for Judas Priest.
I was gonna say like everybody bashes Point of Entry, but like Point of Entry slaps compared to Turbo.
Mhm. I agree. I could even name a couple songs from Point of Entry that I liked. I liked Desert Plains. I like Don't Go.
I like the entire album personally.
Um I actually can't even remember the entire set list. I know Heading Out to the Highways on there. Um
Heading for the highway. Yeah, that's a good one.
and yeah, that one's one of my favorites, and Desert Plains, I would say that's probably another favorite of mine.
Oh yeah.
But as to what we were saying about Maiden, what I was saying before about the X Factor, the Iron Maiden album, I could
Mhm.
even show you some songs right here. Let me try and zoom in. Zoom in here. Can you guys see that? Let me know if you guys can you see that.
Yeah.
Sign of the Cross. They performed that at the Legacy of the Beast tour. It's Sign of the Cross. It's 11 minutes long. So I would suggest like listening to that when you're like driving or like when you're in your car and you have like a lengthy drive, say about 20-30 minutes. Definitely listen to that song. It is great. And I think Blaze, I think on this album, Blaze's voice fits the songs, but I don't think that, like, again, I don't think that Blaze was the vocalist for Iron Maiden. That's
Yeah.
Bruce. But this album is definitely a good album. Sign of the Cross is great. Lord of the Flies is not bad. Man on the Edge. Originally, I wasn't crazy about it, but Man on the Edge is good. That's a good Maiden song. Um, Look for the Truth. If you guys like the song Children of the Damned
Mm-hmm.
from The Number of the Beast, you'll probably like this song. It sounds similar to Children of the Damned, but not exactly. It's
Children of the damned.
that's Oh, that's a great from that album. That I would put Number of the Beast on my third favorite Maiden record
Uh,
because
I don't even know where I would put it offhand, but Number of the Beast is in my top 5, that's for sure.
yeah. Boogie, isn't that your favorite? If you're still with us, wasn't that your favorite Iron Maiden album? Well, wait and see what he says.
And that album has such a Number of the Beast has such a great opening. Invaders. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
And I mean, hallowed be thy name.
yeah,
Some
that's
such fun stuff.
that's probably my Hallowed Be Thy Name is probably my favorite song of the what do you call it? Off of the
Number of the
Number of the
Beast.
Beast.
I don't even know what my favorite is. I mean, there's Invaders, there's Children of the Damned,
There's
the
22
title
Acacia
track,
Avenue.
Run to the Hills, totally.
Hmm.
I mean, there's not a bad song on this album.
And to speaking of the title track, I think Steve Harris's bass really makes the title track. Like if you really listen, take the time to listen, which I can't really I I would love to play the song for you guys, but I don't want to risk, getting the stream taken down or getting the video taken down.
Right, right.
But I would suggest you guys go and listen to The Number of the Beast. And when you go and listen to The Number of the Beast, that out that bass on that album, like it's like it kind of goes blends that formula with Geezer Butler's, and also like has that punk sound that that Steve Harris had in the beginning on his first two albums. But it's just so perfect, and it fits the song, like the in the chorus, the six, the number of the beast.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that. Like I could even say I'm still trying to learn that song, like on the bass. Like it's challenging. Would I say it's hard? Yeah, probably. But it's just like it goes with the guitars, but at the same time it has its own melody to it.
Oh,
And
but
I
it's
think that
great.
really
No,
strengthens the tune.
it's perfect. It's so good.
I see. Boogie said, Number of the Beast is indeed my fave. It's a perfect blend of Paul era punk and Bruce era heaviness. I
Yep.
agree with that. And Clive Burr, who was the drummer for their first two albums and this album as well, he was still in the band. And before he left and Nico McBrain took over, I think he was an underrated drummer. Like Clive Burr, if you listen to some of the earlier stuff, like I would suggest Purgatory from Killers
I was gonna
or
say like that. Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, yeah. The title track Killers and Phantom of the Opera. I think
Oh yeah, Phantom of the Opera.
um was it the drums on Running Free. I think the rhythm section on Running Free is one of the best rhythm section parts in all of heavy metal. Like the what is it, the rhythm section where it goes
Oh
and then you
yeah.
hear Steve Harris's bass going doom bung ba-dum, da-dum, da-dum.
Oh yeah.
Like I think this is and in my honest opinion, I think that that song, the rhythm section for that song is just one of the best rhythm section parts in all of heavy metal music.
It's one of them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't heard enough to be able to be like, I haven't heard enough of all metal to be able to claim that, but
Mhm.
I would definitely say it's up there.
Yeah. I think Black Sabbath is another example. I think, and you could, this is just me because I'm kind of a I'm do a lot of research. Sometimes it's unnecessary research, and when I look it up, like I hear the way that Steve Harris plays, and I see the way that Steve Harris plays, it's very reminiscent of Black Sabbath and the heavy metal bands of the late '60s and early '70s,
Oh
like
yeah.
Deep Purple, and even the progressive rock bands like Rush, like Yes. Like I see a lot of his playing. Mostly, I see Geezer Butler's playing and Steve Harris's playing because they both played a P bass. They both had that signature finger style and that sound to their, that high treble sound to
Oh yeah.
their. Well, for Geezer Butler, I don't think the treble was as high as Steve Harris's bass is, but there's definitely like a
But
lot of
still, yeah.
similarities.
Oh, tons of similarities.
Yeah, like Harris has his signature gallop, and what do you call it? The Butler kind of had that gallop, but he was more of like that aggressive like slapping sound that ding 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 ding.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
was more of like an aggressive slap almost, and he played closer to the fretboard, while Steve Harris kind of played in between the fretboard and the bridge, sometimes closer to the bridge. And
Have you seen the bridge? Have you
what's
found
that
that confounded?
confounded bridge?
Exactly.
Uh, I could see some John Paul Jones and Harris is playing as well. I think John Paul Jones, and this doesn't have to do with them both playing P basses. I mean, the precision bass was a really popular bass back in the day,
Right.
and it kind of still is, depending on what genre of music you listen to.
All of them. I listened to them all.
Same here, honestly. But
I
I
listened to I listened to Space Jam funk metal.
mm, I listen to vegetarian progressive grindcore.
Oh, ooh.
Uh, but with Steve Harris is playing, there's just so much that can be said. Like I could even
Oh,
get out my bass for you guys. Just bear with me 1 second.
I'm bearing.
Yeah. If you want to give him some show tunes while I get out my bass, you definitely can.
Show tunes. What, you want me to start singing Les Mis? One day
Sure, if you
more,
want to.
another day,
Day
another
another
destiny.
destiny.
This never-ending road to Calvary. These men will surely know their pride will only come a second time, one day more. How can I live when we are parted?
I
One
remember
day
singing that
more.
for choir.
Oh, that was a great time.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun song that we did.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites we did in college together.
Yeah.
Or in that class, I should say. Together, too, though. Even though I was in the basses and you in the tenors.
Yeah. I think I forgot who. I think were the tenor twos singing Valjean's part, or were that a few of the tenor ones? I think that was some of the tenor ones.
I can't remember offhand, truthfully. I have to pull out the sheet music and see.
Yeah, I forgot which part they had me sing, or they had because they had certain tenors singing certain characters' parts, like Valjean. I think they had a couple of the tenors sing Valjean's part,
Yeah.
but I got out the bass for you guys. Let me just tune it for you lovely gents.
Are you going to slap your bass?
I might.
Are you going to slap your bass like Red Hot Chili Peppers when they're playing Higher Ground?
Yeah, or Can't Stop.
Yes.
Whenever I practice with my band, my guitarist starts playing Can't Stop, but he literally can't stop. Like he can't stop until I do that slap part.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig.
turn the settings as what would have like a Steve Harris kind of signature sound. And the weird thing is, when I got this bass, I didn't expect it to have a similarity to the precision bass. Although I kind of did, but it had a sound that I was looking for. But I'm kind of glad that it had that precision bass sound. Like if you hear I was gonna show you some of Steve Harris's signature stuff. Like let's see the Wrathchild, like
Oh yeah.
that kind of that kind of slap is like, or that kind of I always love the way that he said that he's made his basses sound personally. But
Oh yeah.
I noticed that he always had that it was his sound, and that was the perfect thing. Like, you knew he had influences, you knew that, a lot of rock bands from back in the day influenced his sound. And I've mentioned that before, that a lot of influences tend to be more subconscious rather than, people openly saying, "Oh, these are my influences."
It's just like George Harrison with My Sweet Lord kind of thing.
Hmm. And if you guys can see my bass over here, I have the treble. Probably can't see it, but I have the treble up higher than usual, and I have the mids kind of up around the middle, around 12 o'clock, or a little bit below it. And I have the bass down a little bit. I think I put it up 12 o'clock, and that was kind of like that's kind of how we go for that Steve Harris kind of tone, like the clairvoyant. Like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
could not I could not tell you every time that I hear his precision bass, and hearing it live was a completely different experience.
Oh, I bet. I bet that was like freaking really cool.
Yeah, and seeing that beautiful precision bass live was just like it was
So
just
you were so you were nutting in your seat.
yeah, or well, I was technically in I was technically in the on the floor, so I was standing, but I was like
Oh, so it was running down your leg. Gross.
totally I let's just say for the kids' sake though, that I was just like this.
Yeah, boy!
Like uh there I've mentioned this before, but seeing them live versus actually listening to their music, which is, their studio work is great
Mhm.
on their own, but
Oh,
seeing them live and seeing them actually perform their music is a whole nother experience.
oh, I can only imagine. I'm sure it's like I'm telling you, I need to see them live one day.
Yeah. Next time when they tour with Judas Priest, definitely come along with me.
I mean, yeah, we were supposed to see Megadeth before this stupid pandemic, so
Yeah. Um a, a lot of people to when it came to Paris's bass, he snuck in a lot of techniques that some people might miss when they listen to Iron Maiden.
oh yeah, like what?
Like harmonics, pinch harmonics. If you know Murders in the Rue Morgue,
Oh yeah, do
mm-hmm. Or you say,
do 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 do.
yeah, he does a lot of the pinch harmonics. I think it's like yeah. And to go off from the X Factor, I think that there's a lot of techniques that Steve Harris used on this album that he hasn't used on any other record. Like, another song that I could recommend you is "Blood on the World's Hands," which has this like incredible, which has this really bright bass intro. I believe it. I'm pretty sure you could emulate this. I've emulated the sound with a whammy pedal, but he plays it with an acoustic bass, and the intro kind of sounds like this. And I hope I don't get blocked for this, but just basically that. And like I I could honestly say like this dude has so many tricks up his sleeve,
Clearly, yeah.
and I I really hope that I'm from what I've heard, Maiden's been working on a new album.
Oh,
Um,
really? I thought Book of Souls was going to be the end.
really, I hope
I
it's
kind of
not the
did,
end.
yeah.
I would really hope it's not the end because I'm I'm looking forward to see what Maiden has next.
Honestly, I hope it's not too, because I'm hoping they have a better album for their closing album.
Mhm.
If they end, like, I know that Megadeth is recording or was recording, so
Yeah, Megadeth was working on a new album last year.
yeah.
I think it was the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, and Dystopia was a good album. Even if they ended on that album, that was good. But
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what else they got. And you
I
know
would.
what? I'd even go as far to say Hardwired Self Destruct by Metallica was a great. If they never released another album, studio album again, that's a pretty good closer. I'm just glad they didn't end with Lulu.
Oh yeah, it's sad that Lou Reed had to end with Lulu because Lou Reed is actually a really good songwriter
I mean,
and a very good
you
musician.
know,
I think.
I should. I mean, as sonically, it was weird when I first put on the album, and I was just like, okay, fine, let's see what happens. I
I would.
honestly should have known that I needed to turn off the album when the opening lyrics were, "I ripped my arms and tits off."
Yeah, I would cut my legs and tits off when I think of Boris Karloff. It's literally how the album starts. I think it's like 5 minutes into the song. It's like I would cut my legs and tits off when I think of Boris Karloff. It's like how would that get the album? How would that get people engaged to listen to the album?
Honestly, I'm surprised I didn't turn it off, but I didn't. Oh, I heard the whole thing,
Hmm.
and if I never do
Speaking
again, I'm okay.
speaking of album openers, I remember the Book of Souls album opener was actually a really good song. I think it was called "If Eternity Should Fail."
Okay, as I said, I've only heard that album once or twice in my life, so I don't really know it super well. But
Yeah, they have a song called "If Eternity Should Fail," and I think that I think that it's I could say it's a great Maiden song. It's one of my favorites off that album, and I think maybe it's because I like hearing Iron Maiden go into like the key of like D minor or something like that, because
yeah,
a lot of their greatest songs are in D minor, like Number of the Beast. Uh, or I think it's in D major. I don't remember it. I think it's both major and minor.
it's D. Okay, it
Yeah,
works.
we'll just say it's D. Um, what's another one? Fear of the Dark. That's in D minor. Like, so that's another thing that people don't like forget, and I think this is I'm I'm wondering how his hands are still intact from doing all these doing all these uh bar chords, or not bar chords, doing all these root fifths and like power chords, because
Oh yeah,
that was something I don't think he started that, but that was something that was very common in his playing, like in uh Blood Brothers.
yeah. Dude, the thing about Blood Brothers is perfection.
Mhm. Trying to remember how that goes.
So, what would you say your all-time favorite Maiden song would be if you had to choose just one?
That is a tough one because I am a huge I'm a huge diehard Maiden fan. Um It would definitely be any song off of Power Slave. Because like I said, Power Slave is my favorite Iron Maiden album, and
Wow, every song off Power Slave, that's a whole one song, LA.
yeah, it's like no, I'm just saying it's any song off of Power Slave that I can name would probably be. I could probably put that as one of my favorites, as my favorite. Um, let's see there's the title track Power Slave. That's probably one of my favorite songs of all time. I could probably put that if I had to choose. It would either be like Power Slave um or Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. That's another great song off that album. That's the one that's like 13 and a half minutes long,
Oh yeah.
which it was originally Iron Maiden's longest song until Empire of the Clouds.
Yeah.
Empire of the Clouds, because Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was about 13 and a half minutes long. Empire of the Clouds is about 18 minutes long.
Yeah. And then there's bands like Dream Theater who have 46-minute songs.
Yeah, or like Jethro Tull, where like one half of the album's like 20 minutes long, and the other half is just another 20-minute long song.
You mean Thick as a Brick Part 1 and 2?
Yeah, and I think the album that came after that, I'm trying to remember what it was called.
I can't remember which one came after Thick as a Brick offhand. Jethro Tull, I'm not good with their discography because I haven't heard much of Jethro Tull, but I've enjoyed everything I've heard though by them.
Same. I've never like really taken the time to listen to Jethro Tull, but everything I've listened to is very good. Very, I think, great. Like the songs off Aqualung, like the main title track.
Oh yeah. Boom, ba-dum, ba-da-da-dum. Yeah, but my favorite Jethro Tull album is Stormwatch.
I don't really think I have a favorite Jethro Tull album, at least yet, because I haven't listened to them enough to say like, oh, I love this album. Like
That's fair.
like um like for Maiden, actually, I'm like such a diehard Maiden fan that I've been able to write down like to pinpoint which album of theirs from their discography because I've listened to almost every Maiden album. Um, I could pinpoint which one is my favorite, like top five. I can name you my top five right now. That would be my top five: Power Slave, Peace of Mind, The Number of the Beast, um, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and Brave New World.
Very solid. Very solid. I'm not sure what mine would be. I haven't thought of it enough, but definitely Peace of Mind or Peace of Mind, Brave New World, Number of the Beast, and Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. At least those four. I'm not sure what the fifth one would be. Maybe. Well, Killers and Iron Maiden are kind of tied for a favorite, so maybe those ones will be the fifth choice. I don't know.
I think Killers was where we first heard no, actually it might have been Running Free where we first heard the bass gallop, but I think Killers was when he really perfected his bass gallop, like the song Killers. That
Yeah.
was like I think that was kind of like the transition period for Iron Maiden, like Killers onto Peace of Mind, like Killers going from the Number of the Beast, then to Peace of Mind was like the transition of Iron Maiden's sound, because in their debut album with Paul Di'Anno, they still had that strong punk influence. Like you could hear it in Running Free, you could hear it in basically all the other songs that they had, like Transylvania, their instrumental. They had Phantom of the Opera, Iron Maiden, their title track.
Yeah.
And I I gotta listen to that album again. But Sanctuary, that has like a strong punk sound.
Yeah. I haven't heard their debut in so long. I need to. I don't even have that on physical format, but I need to hear that again soon.
Yeah, same. The what do you call it? The I love the way that that running freeze bass line goes. The
Oh yeah, it's a pretty sexy bass line, that's for sure.
I could agree with that. Like, I think that was like that song. I think it could be the sign that Steve Harris was a force to be reckoned with. Like,
Well,
throughout
that
that
was the
whole
first
song.
hello. Like, I'm Steve Harris and I play the bass. you
Yeah,
know.
I'm Steve Harris and I'm the bassist of Iron Maiden.
Hello, I'm Steve Harris and this is Disney Channel.
You're watching Disney Channel. Yeah. That I love that fill that he does. That
Oh yeah. So, what is your favorite Steve Harris bass line?
that is also a tough one because I there's so many. There's Lost for Words. There's the Clairvoyant. Uh there's obviously running free, which I already played.
Mm-hmm.
There's Killers. And the Red and the Black. Let's not forget that one.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the whole part, but I would say it's the Clairvoyant because of how blatant it is. It's like it's just like you hear that song and you know that's going to be intense, like the
Yeah.
it's like such a huge driving force of that song. That would probably, if I had to choose, it would probably be the Clairvoyant because just how blatant and just how strong that bass line is.
Yeah.
It's like
So what do you?
what were we gonna
So
say?
out of all of Iron Maiden's hits, what do you think is the worst one? In your opinion, of course.
That is I think it would probably be Public Enema #1 from No Prayer for the Dying. Either that or the openings track for The Final Frontier, because it's just I just wasn't crazy about the sound. I would say it's probably the opening title track from The Final Frontier.
Okay. It's funny because when you first said Public Enema #1, I was like thinking until you said No Prayer for the Dying, I was like, excuse me, that's a Megadeth song. Public Enemy #1.
Yeah.
From what was that? That was from 13, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I gotta go back and listen to more post Countdown to Extinction Megadeth.
Dude, my introduction to Megadeth was the song Tornado of Souls from Rust in Peace, and then The System Has Failed. The System Has Failed is like no other Megadeth album. So I'm sure you can imagine my surprise when I heard everything else. I mean, if you're not familiar with The System Has Failed, then you don't know, but that's a good one. I mean, Blackmail the Universe, Kick the Chair of Mice and Men. That's a great album.
I've heard the system. I've heard about The System Has Failed. I've never actually listened to it, but I've heard nothing but good things about that album.
I mean, there's a nostalgia aspect to it, but The System Has Failed is one of my favorite Megadeth albums.
My all-time favorite Megadeth album would be Rust in Peace. Either Rust in Peace or Peace Cells is up there too. But even their debut album, I would say it's pretty good. I think Killing Is My Business.
I don't love Killing Is My Business. It's not bad, but I don't think it's it isn't their best, but
Yeah, I would say either Rust in Peace or Peace Cells would be my favorite Megadeth album.
Now, my question is, what are your thoughts? Now we're on a Megadeth conversation, but what's your thoughts about So Far So Good So What and them having like the Sex Pistols covers on their album?
Um, I haven't got around to So Far So Good So What. I've so far haven't been too crazy about the songs, except for In My Darkest Hour. In My
Oh,
Darkest Hour is one of the best Megadeth songs ever written.
agreed. Um, okay, so in case you didn't know, they do a cover of Anarchy in the UK on that album. So
I think the I've heard that cover because I know that's pretty popular.
yeah, Anarchy. I am an anarchist.
Speaking of covers, um, Bruce Dickinson, I think in one of his solo albums, covered "Sabbath Bloody Sabbath" by Black Sabbath,
Huh. I
and
don't. I've never heard any of his solo stuff, so I don't know.
I've listened to a couple of it, and it's actually pretty good. I think some of the songs off "Accident of Birth," which is one of Bruce Dickinson's songs, or one of Bruce Dickinson's albums. Um, that album has some good songs. Let me see if I could find the song that I really like from "Accident of Birth." Let me see, because there was one song that I like. I can't remember I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that song you like either.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Um, I think it was called "The Magician."
Okay.
Yeah, it might have been called "The Magician," or no, it was yeah, it might have been. Yeah, I think it was "The Magician."
Okay.
That was another. "Accident of Birth" is another good song, the title song, and "Man of Sorrows." Not "Man of Sorrow" from the Book of Souls, but "Man of Sorrows."
No, I know what you meant.
Oh, Adrian Smith played. Adrian Smith played on that song, and
Okay. Did not
if
know that.
if I'm not mistaken, he left Iron Maiden as well. He left Iron Maiden after No Prayer for the Dying. It was either after No Prayer for the Dying or after Seventh Son. It says he left in 1990, so I can't remember what albums he's. I can't remember what albums he's been.
1990.
Yeah, he wasn't on No Prayer for the Dying. He must
Yeah,
have
no.
left before that.
What year was No Prayer for the Nine Dying? Was that 98?
Let me check.
Oh no, that was 93, I think. Either 93 or 98, I don't know.
1990.
Oh, I was really wrong. Okay.
Yeah, because I think Dickinson left in 93 or 94. Let me check.
Yeah, I don't know my Maiden history quite like I know my Zeppelin history, so.
Yeah. There's only a handful of bands that I know the history to. Maiden's one of them. Led Zeppelin's one of them. Genesis, I know a decent amount. Rush, I know a lot about. I know almost all of or I know a decent amount of their history. But Maiden, I know a lot of their history. According to Wikipedia, and don't quote me on this, Dickinson quit in 1993, being replaced by Blaze Bailey to pursue his solo career, which saw him experiment with a wide variety of heavy metal and rock styles.
Okay.
So yeah, it was 93 that he left.
And then he realized that Supper was ready and he came back with Brave New World.
Yeah, that was quite an album to come back to. Like you lost like an iconic member of the band. Oh, he's back and he's great. And you know what happens? You're gonna create this album and it's gonna be a banger.
Oh, it's like the Hess truck every year. The Hess truck's back and it's better than ever. Bruce Dickinson's back and it's better than ever.
Exactly.
Maiden this year, Brave New World.
I wouldn't be surprised if they made that a parody commercial. They should have done that to advertise Brave New World. They would have got some nice publicity. I mean, they
Probably.
got it anyway because it's a fantastic album and they're one of the best live bands of all time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely one of the best live. I mean, that's one of the best Maiden albums. Period. So.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember some of the bass lines off of that because I think, and I feel terrible for this. I haven't learned a lot of Brave New World on bass. Like I know the thin line between love and hate.
It's a start.
Like
Now you
that.
got. It's a start, so you now got to learn the rest of it.
hmm That it's definitely the issue is the speed because I know it goes with a guitar that
Yeah.
and the the I would say that the thin line between love and hate is it's if it's not one of my favorites, it's I think it's definitely my one of my second or third favorite, depending on uh it's definitely my third favorite, but the way that it goes like that part when Dickinson like just sings that like while like the guitars and like everything else like the instrumentation just mellows out and just kind of
Yeah.
like stays like Steve Harris just holds those notes. I'm pretty sure he does octaves in root fifth, and like it sounds like octaves in root fifth. It might be the guitar doing that, but I don't remember. I know one of the guitars goes like it holds a chord, and when Dickinson's vocals come in, holy crap! Like that's like heavenly. That's like just so beautiful. Like the thin
Oh yeah.
line. Like it's just there's so much feeling to that. Like there,
Dickinson's vocals on Brave New World is like no other.
yeah, like you could tell that he took the time that he needed to figure out like what he was doing wrong to like because with vocalists, I know that a lot of them like might lose sight of their technique and they might end up hurting themselves. Like there's a lot of vocalists out there that have done that are most infamous for that. And but I think Bruce took the time that he needed and figured out what he was doing wrong and came back to Maiden like with his newfound knowledge and his new abilities, and that just tells it like that's incredible. I think it was a beautiful thing that happened to him, and for him to like the performance that he gave on Brave New World on each song is no short of amazing, no short of like incredible. And you could tell this man really like loves his voice. He like his voice is his livelihood, and you could tell that he really stood there and took care of it. And
Right.
I think I made a short stream a while back on just how just different articles and different videos on how certain singers took care of themselves, like Joey Belladonna, Paul Rogers, and even Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden.
Right.
And I just seeing what Bruce Dickinson said, and this actually might give hope to singers out there that are worried about their voices kind of like declining in the future. He said, there's nothing really to it. Just don't be an idiot about taking care of your voice. Like learn when to do certain things at the right time, and that goes for saying performing live and uh performing live and and just preparing for it. Like if you're going to perform live or go on a tour, just make sure you're not out drinking, you're not out uh eating food and drinking stuff that would ultimately hurt your voice or damage your voice. Just basically be smart about taking care of your voice, and
Right.
that's basically all there is to it. That's from what he said. It's just don't neglect your voice when it's showtime. When it's showtime, that's the most important thing, your voice. Like
Right.
that's for people that are singing, and I think that's about the best advice anyone could get. Just don't overcomplicate everything. Like you don't have to cut out certain things in your diet,
Right.
which a lot of people do, which is fine. I'm learning to do that myself. I'm learning to cut out a lot of things so my voice doesn't suffer when I'm performing and when it's showtime.
Right.
I just got to look out for those things, and I think just be mindful of that. And I think that's so far the best advice that I heard from any of those vocalists. I mean, not to say that Paul Rogers and Joey Belladonna's advice wasn't helpful. Their advice was very helpful as well. Joey Belladonna Joey Belladonna is also up there. I think he's just as skilled, if not more skilled. Oh no, he's just as skilled as Dickinson, because he struggled with his voice abilities for a while, and he learned how to make a comeback, and he made a comeback the same way that Dickinson did. I think he was out of Anthrax for a while too, but I don't think that was one of the reasons why.
Right. So, as you can tell, I brought out my guitar at this point.
Mm-hmm.
People are sleeping, so I'm not going to plug in my amp, but I figured it's appropriate. I was talking about how I learned that You've Let Men Do all those years ago, and I can still play it.
Oh, really?
No, it wouldn't. How was that? Oh, there it is.
That is just one of the best.
What's that? Oh, yeah.
No,
and then, of course, there's...
Oh, yeah.
I need to work on my technique on that one. I haven't played that one in a while, but...
Same. I know that both of those songs, Run to the Hills, has Steve Harris's signature gallop. It has the triplet gallop that he does, like the like he does that in both Run to the Hills and in The Evil That Men Do.
Oh yeah.
Like those songs are just incredible to listen to. I remember that they actually performed The Evil That Men Do at the concert. Let me see if I can find. I'm gonna look for their set list, so bear with me. Legacy of the Beast.
Yeah, while you look up that, I'll serenade with the Hallowed Be Thy Name.
All right, sounds awesome. Oh man, that's a shame. I thought they finished this tour, but apparently they didn't. 35 shows had to get canceled or postponed because of the pandemic. Well, this might even work out, because if they come back to America next year, might actually end up seeing them.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's also
the Dance of Death song. The title song. When you're lying in your sleep, when you're lying in your bed, to the dreams, so you're messing with the dead. That is another great song.
Oh yeah.
How does that song go?
Bum 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 bum, something like that.
Yeah. I get that bass part mixed up with Blood Brothers.
Yeah, right. And then since we're talking metal, it wouldn't be metal, especially with you loving this album, without this. From Rust in Peace, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. That Oh yeah. Speaking of Rust in Peace, since I have my bass out. Had to do that. Those Dawn Patrol.
Yeah.
I think that album also has one of the best rhythm sections in metal as well, which I know people are a lot of the real bass players are gonna get mad and say only little bitches play with a pick. But honestly, David Ellefson comes up with some really good bass lines. Like, but before I hurt people's ears with the feedback, or with the distortion, because I had this a little high. But I was with the Legacy of the Beast tour. I know they played the Evil That Men Do, what I was saying before, and they killed it. I can honestly say there was not a single song on that show that they played that they didn't just knock out of the park. Like every single song that they played, which is, it's like they picked. Let's see, it's like they literally picked some of their best songs and put it in an entire set list.
That's fantastic.
I think they did that with Somewhere Back in Time as well. I heard that set list was really good. Let's see if I can find it. Legacy of the Beast World Tour. Here was the set list. Like I said, intro, Churchill speech, Aces High, Where Eagles Dare. I think that bass line is really good too, like how it goes with the guitar. Like that has a great rhythm section. Run to the Hills has an excellent drum part, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, they did play Run to the Hills. I was trying to remember. It's like, actually, I know that when people think of seeing Iron Maiden live, they go to their set list to be like they tend to overthink it like this. They tend to really overthink it like this.
Gathering information ahead of time is also part of the test. We should have found an upperclassman to listen to. Why didn't I think about that before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, regardless of what their set list is, I would have saw them live either way, and I think they would have no doubt put on an excellent show. Like but for example, look at this set list. Look at some of these songs. I have the Klansman from Virtual 11. I think that's I'm not a big fan of Virtual 11, but the Klansman and Future Real are two of their best songs from. I think they're two of my favorite Maiden songs. But the Klansman, it kind of goes like this. Like that's kind of That's basically how it goes. That's the Klansman from Virtual 11. Revelations from Peace of Mind. They played that. You see it right here. They played
Oh
the
yeah.
Trooper, of course, because it's Iron Maiden. That's one of their most famous songs. It can't be Iron Maiden without playing the Trooper. But the Revelations is, I think that's, I would say is one, like, if it's not my favorite, it's definitely one of my favorites from Peace of Mind, because of just like there's everything about that song I love. Everything about Revelations I love.
Oh, the entire,
The
yeah. It's
like
so
from beginning to end.
yeah. It's a good one.
Like everything about that from beginning to end is just, it's just I could I could go on for hours about that song.
I'm just biased because I'm obsessed with that album, but
Yeah, that's my second favorite Maiden album, so
exactly.
like I'm kind of biased as well. Oh, they I f- I like I've been forgetting what songs they've been playing on they played on their set list, but now looking back to it, I'm starting to remember. I forgot that they played For the Greater Good of God, and that's that I would say that is my favorite song off A Matter of Life and Death. It's like it might sound like eh, it might sound like, I'm getting a little in over my head about this, but these are like they literally picked some of my favorite Maiden songs for this set list.
Oh yeah, I bet.
For the Greater Good of God. That was I was like, oh my god, I was singing along to that like when they were doing it because of just how like pumped, how like happy I was hearing it too. The devil show me what life is for the greater good of God.
There you go. There you
And
go.
it's just like I'm telling you, man, and this goes for everyone else watching. If you ever have the opportunity to see Iron Maiden, like in any way, shape, or form, do it.
Do it.
Just do it. Yeah,
Just do it.
yeah, like just do it. You will not regret it one bit. They are one of the best heavy metal, one of the best bands to ever see live. Like
I'm sure.
they put on one hell of a show.
I can only imagine.
Sign of the Cross, that Bruce, like, believe it or not, Bruce, like, Bruce kills the Blaze Bailey songs. Like, he can make it his own while respecting like how it sounded originally.
Oh, I bet.
um Sign of the Cross goes, that I believe that's how, well, actually how it starts, how Sign of the Cross starts is it's a Gregorian chant that goes for 1 minute because the song is about 11 minutes long. It's a Gregorian chant that goes it goes on for an entire minute, and then while the Gregorian chant ends and like fades away, it just starts with this. Like my G string is out of tune. It's a little flat.
Wow, you're messing around with G string now, huh?
Yeah, you can woo all the boys with your round wound G string.
Huh.
What was I gonna say? Actually, these are hybrid strings too. These are hybrid round wound.
Okay.
I always put them on my dimension bass. Um, but before I go on to the final thoughts, I could go on for hours talking about this tour set list.
Oh yeah.
but definitely check out Sign of the Cross. And to go off from what Steve Harris was, just to go off for a little more on, appreciating Steve Harris and his contribution to Iron Maiden. His bass playing is just perfect for that band. It's perfect for any band, which I've gone on record saying this, and this might sound biased because of how huge a fan of Maiden I am. I think that Iron Maiden is the most technically perfect heavy metal band to exist.
I agree.
They got, and when you really think about it, it's like they got an opera singer or dude with opera skills singing vocals for them, and I think that's what influenced power metal to be created. I know Judas Priest and Iron Maiden were two of the biggest contributions to the power metal movement.
Yeah, and then later in the 80s, Halloween came out and started doing kind of having an impact as well.
Hmm. I gotta listen to more Halloween.
Keeper of the Keeper of the Seven Keys, parts 1 and 2 albums.
Keepers of the Seven Keys. I'm gonna write that down in my Apple Music.
Those are the ones you need.
Keepers of the Seven Keys.
Yeah.
I'll listen to that. Keepers
Those
of
those ones are the essential Halloween albums, if nothing else. And Dr. Steen is probably my favorite Halloween tune.
I see. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a look at that. But um they got great guitarists as well. Like these guitarists don't just the funny thing is a lot of their influence isn't really heavy metal influence. It's more so prog rock, blues rock, jazz. Like there's a lot of other influences that affect Iron Maiden that affected the music that they were making. And
Correct.
yeah, and uh like Steve Harris, for example, like he was a huge prog guy. I could hear it in the way he plays. I could hear it in
Oh yeah.
just the way he approaches the chords and the root notes and everything. It's just like he's very, very technical, very proggy. And what do you call their guitarists have a lot of jazz sound to them, a lot of blues. Um I remember seeing this is just my opinion. I think that Adrian Smith was the best guitarist when it came to the solos.
Oh yeah.
Like from seeing him live, like I saw all of them playing live as I was up front. I saw seeing Adrian Smith solo was just like I've never seen a guitarist play like that ever. Like, and this is no disrespect to any other guitarists I've seen live because they were great as well. But seeing Adrian Smith play those solos, it was like he didn't even have to think about it. Like he just knew these solos. Like he could just play it and that would be it, and it would sound good. Like I could put him up there with the technical level of Paul Gilbert. So Paul Gilbert from Mr. Big and Racer X,
Yep. Oh
like
yeah.
and Richie Kotzen. I think they're actually working on an album together.
I,
Adrian Smith and Richie Kotzen.
I don't know. But final thoughts then, good sir.
Yes. So, I know we went off talking mostly about Iron Maiden, but with Steve Harris, I think that if it weren't for him, Iron Maiden would not be the band that we know and love today. And those bass lines, like I I think are just unbelievable. Like no other bass player like has really impacted me into getting into performing and just playing and writing music. Like I'm not even gonna doubt that. Like, yeah, I'm also kind of a person that doesn't like to say, oh, I don't really like to have influences, but Steve Harris was definitely a notable influence in a lot of the things I did and a lot of the playing style that I had. Like, and especially with how I made my bass sound. It's not exactly like Steve Harris's, but I don't want it to be because I don't, and that's okay. Like, I'm not trying to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
sound like Steve Harris, but it's like that's just how it was. But
Correct.
I he is hands down my favorite, probably one of my favorite bassists. next to Geddy Lee and Geezer Butler and Billy Sheehan. He's definitely up there on top with those other bass players that I mentioned. But what do you have to say? Like, what is your personal opinion on like Steve Harris and the rest of like the members of Iron Maiden? Because I know we were talking about their technicality.
In metal music, Steve Harris, I think, is the best bassist in metal music. Um, when it comes to other musicianships within the genre of metal, Bruce Dickinson, I think, is in the top 3 best metal vocalists of all time, next to Ozzy Osbourne and Ronnie James Dio.
Hmm. And Rob Halford.
Yeah, Rob Halford is in there too, but not quite to the
Yeah,
same level. I'd put Dave Mustaine over Rob Halford personally.
he's an okay vocalist, but I think I don't know. I think on a technical level that there might be a big
Uh,
difference.
yeah, technically Halford definitely has more,
Yeah,
but,
but what were you gonna say? Sorry
but yeah,
to
no.
cut you off.
But yeah, Maiden is definitely a band I want to see, and there's not Maiden can do no wrong, even with the Bailey.
Mm. Yeah, I would definitely say, like I've said this again, I've said this before, and I'm saying it again. Any opportunity that you can take to see them live, take that opportunity because you will not regret it. And like wherever it, honestly, it doesn't even matter what the seat. I would suggest seeing them up front. I would suggest wearing earplugs because it's a big metal concert and it will be louder up front. Um, but definitely, definitely see them live in any way, shape, or form because you will not regret it. They are just. I could go on for hours about this.
Oh yeah,
Um,
in
um,
fact, you have
yeah,
tonight.
literally, I went on for an hour and a half about it.
Yep, and we've had multiple conversations outside of public live streams about it too. So
Yeah. Um. But anyways, I think that's how I want to end this stream. Steve Harris is again one of the best bass players, not just metal, but in music overall. I think he's by far like one of the. He's by far been like a big had a big impact on my playing and on my music as a whole. And Iron Maiden's had such a big impact on my life and my music as well. And I'm sure they've had a big impact on other bands like Metallica and other bands that can be named that are out there. And even I could even in what you do as well, Mike. I know that
oh yeah,
you're also a diehard Maiden fan. Which
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I mean, I'm sure just as I do with your playing, you hear influences of Maiden sometimes with me.
yeah, but it's all about the feel. And I think when you got the feel like Harris and Adrian do, and when you have that feel, like it's just with you for life, and no, you wouldn't want it any other way.
Correct.
Yeah. But guys, thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Mike, for coming to the stream or coming on to the stream and talking with me about Maiden. Uh, I definitely, I definitely appreciate I definitely appreciate you coming out and talking about your love for Maiden and your what your favorite records are and your favorite Maiden stuff is because it was great to hear another diehard Maiden fan talk about them besides me on this stream.
Yeah, without a doubt. And thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime. Uh, and if you want to see any updates on the podcast, just go onto my Instagram at LA Perez Works. Don't forget to follow Mike at Retrospin Vinyl and check out his channel. Check out his channel, Retrospin Vinyl, when you get the chance. And guys, I will see you next time. And as always, stay tuned.